We have some really bad news. Guys, Love After Lockup was on a day or so ago, and oh my god, it was a really good episode. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. A lot of stuff went down that we can talk about in a couple of seconds, but first, we have some bad news, and that is with John and Kristianna. Boom, right there. They are that crazy couple that is just unbelievable. From Iowa. They've only been dating for 3 months. She got out of jail, and guess what? When she got out of jail, on her way to the halfway house, John got down on one knee, he proposed, and then before they were supposed to go to the halfway house, he literally legally married her. So they are an insane couple, but something deep down inside of me kind of likes these two together. I don't know why. I do feel like Kristianna is kind of using John because keep in mind, let me just say, John took in Kristianna's mom and Kristianna's sister. So she's definitely kind of somewhat using him, but for some reason, John is madly in love with Kristianna, and I feel like that love he has is kind of making her genuinely love him. So they're kind of sweet together. But anyway, what happened in the last episode was the halfway house called John and said, hey, you are Kristianna's point of contact, and we have to let you know she is gone, she is not here, she left, which if you leave the halfway house, you gotta go back to jail. So what happened was she turned back to her old ways, she relapsed, and so it's horrible. It breaks my heart to see. She was doing really well before, she was sober, and she got in that halfway house, and her demons, it came back to her, and she turned back to her old ways, and it broke my heart. Now, the story kind of takes a weird turn because what happened was once John got the call from the halfway house, he was like, I have to go find her, which that doesn't seem very likely. I don't know how big the town is that Kristianna is in, but what are the odds that John could just go there, drive around town, and randomly find her? It seems kind of unlikely, but that is exactly what John does. He goes to Dubuque, where she's at, he drives around town, and boom, he's in a random parking lot in a shopping center at night, and he runs smack dab into her, and he finds her, and so he ends up saying, hey, well, she's disappointed, she's sad, she feels horrible, but he says, no, don't worry, come with me and we'll figure this whole thing out. So he's being supportive, he's being sweet, but we all know, us fans love After Lockup, and so does John, and so does Kristianna. We all know that, okay, her next step is she has to go back to jail. So she completely blew her chance at being free and being able to live a normal life. I feel bad for her. I wish she could have just held on a little longer. Even she was like, I don't know why I did that. I messed up. I just made a horrible decision. And now she has to pay the consequences. So I feel bad for John. I even kind of feel bad for Kristianna. I think she, clearly needs real serious help. But she turned back to her old ways, and it's not looking good for them. We have heard a rumor that, yes, in fact, she is back in prison. And now, after watching that last episode, it all kind of comes together. Now I want to do something a little bit more fun, and I want to talk about one of the craziest people I have ever seen on this show. And that is saying something, because we have seen some unbelievable people. That is Heather and Dylan. Now, Dylan, he seems to be a relatively nice guy. I know a lot of you ladies watching this video probably just love the guy because he is buff. He's a charming, good-looking guy. He's real smooth with his words, so I'm sure a bunch of you ladies just love the guy. But Dylan, I don't know. He seems a little bit too smooth for me. But Heather, she's out of her mind. I mean, what happened in the last episode was her and Dylan, Heather was just unbelievably dying, wanting to be romantic with Dylan, if you know what I'm talking about. But the problem is that, he's paroled at her, great aunt's house. And so, they can't do what they want to do with their aunt in the next bedroom. So, she was freaking out. She was so mad. Finally, she just blew up for literally no reason. She got super mad at her aunt and was telling her aunt, you have to stop talking to Dylan and you have to stop, taking away his attention. And I'm watching this thinking, okay, Dylan's a good-looking young man. Her aunt is like 97 years old. Clearly, nothing's gonna happen, but it was just weird. It was annoying. Heather obviously has serious jealousy issues. So then, they end up just leaving. They're like, we're gonna go to a motel. We're gonna get out of here. So they leave. And then immediately after, Heather's aunt calls Heather and says, hey, Dylan's parole officer is here. He needs to get back here immediately. So Heather has to just go a million miles per hour back to the house. They barely make it in time. The parole officer is super upset. He even did say that because you weren't here, I honestly should maybe, have to take you back to jail. But because I'll be nice, I'll be a good guy, we can let this one go and we can move on. So, he just got a very close call. And I can't help but kind of point my fingers over at Heather, because if we backtrack a little bit, it was Heather that wanted to go to the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. She wanted to leave. She did not want to stay there. Dylan didn't really seem to mind staying, so kind of pointing my fingers at Heather. And if he was to go back to jail, I would really be pointing my fingers right at Heather. Irresponsible, not cool, and right from the get-go, they're already fighting like this. I don't know how much longer these two are going to be together. Now, I don't know if I just completely dreamt this or if this really happened, but I feel like I heard a spoiler. So spoiler, spoiler, spoiler alert. I feel like I heard a spoiler maybe from like Soap Dirt that Dylan and Heather filed joint restraining orders on each other. I feel like I did hear that. If I didn't, I must have dreamt it, but I feel like I did. And so if that is the case, if they did file a joint restraining order, obviously they are not still together. And hey, guess what? Do y'all remember Sean and Destiny? I was never, ever, ever, ever a big fan of these two. I thought Destiny was using the crap out of Sean, and Sean, I don't like him because he has like 6 or 7 or 8 kids, and he's throwing money like crazy Destiny's way when it's clear as day she is using him. So we got to see them on the last episode, and guess what? Destiny has had this infamous court case that if she doesn't show up to, she would, John was going to be out $50,000. Well, last night, or a couple nights ago, was the episode, and we got to see, dun dun dun, she made it. She came to court. He doesn't have to pay the $50,000. He was so happy, and I feel like that was kind of the only thing holding Sean still in this relationship. Now, we got to see a preview for the rest of this season, and it looks like Sean might actually propose to Destiny, and I believe she might possibly say no. So I'll tell y'all right now, if he actually proposes, oh my God, what is wrong with this guy? Like, why is he so out of his mind? Not only is he boring and just kind of annoying, he is delusional. Like, he thinks this woman likes him. She is clearly using him. I mean, y'all can comment below, but seriously, what is wrong with Sean? He's going to be flat on his you-know-what, broke pretty soon if he keeps staying with her. Now, yet again, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler alert, but I believe I heard that it was rumored from Soap Dirt that Destiny actually ended up back in jail, and I wouldn't be shocked one bit. She's already kind of doing weird stuff. She is partying like crazy, so I would not be shocked if she ends her, back up being in jail. Wouldn't be shocked one bit. But with Sean, he is annoying and he is just gullible as heck. And if he was not gullible enough, we also have Scott and Lindsay, and they are just the weirdest little mishmash of a couple. I will say that Sean and Destiny do seem to be worse. Scott and Lindsay, they're not a good couple. Scott is weird. He is full of himself. Lindsay, she is also weird and full of herself, and she is openly, talking about the fact that she only likes him for his money. She does not hide the fact. So they're a god-awful couple. Little bit better than Sean and Destiny, I feel like, in some ways. But on the last episode, they were fighting. Then they were happy. Then they were fighting. Then they were happy. Basically, long story short, Scott found a letter that was written by Lindsay pretty much saying that she was just going to take all the money that her new man had, and that was it. He thought that was written about him, but she claims that no, it was a quote from a book. They were going back and forth. They both weren't happy. Lindsay called her like halfway house type thing and said, hey, I want to change my address to go live with my mom. I want to get out of here. But of course, she couldn't because it was like the weekend. And then within that time frame, Scott was able to persuade her and make her happy enough to stay. So it was really a weird mishmash of fighting and kind of being happy and romantic, and it's not a good relationship, but I really don't know what's going to happen with these two, because I thought they were going to break up, but the new season of Life After Lockup is going to air in November. We just got to see a preview trailer for it not that long ago, and in this new trailer, Scott and Lindsay were in it. So I don't know what happens if they stay together. Not really sure, but they must have stayed together long enough, I suppose, to be in this trailer. And not only the trailer, but this entire new season. So Scott and Lindsay, god-awful couple. They have no business being together, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. However, I will say though, there has finally been one couple, I want to say maybe the first couple this season, that have ended their relationship, and that is Tyrese and Shonda. We finally heard from them. I called this like a week or two ago, if y'all haven't already seen that video, but Tyrese came out and said, hey, I haven't heard from Shonda in a long time. And so when I heard that, 2 words, long time, I figured, well, what has it been? A week? Maybe 10 days? 14 days? He goes, it's been like 2 or 3 months. So once I heard that, I go, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, she used him for his money when she was in jail. She got out of jail, and she says, bye-bye, Tyrese, we are done. And that's exactly what happened. She got out, and then we got to see Shonda, and she admitted it, that, hey, she enjoyed talking to him when she was in jail. But the truth is, when she saw him in that good old, laughable, hilarious blue suit, and she saw how old he was, she was kind of just like, oh, I'm not feeling this. And so she completely ghosted him, which, for those of y'all that don't know, means she went silent. She left him. She stopped talking to him, to the point where she had to literally get a new phone number. That sounded a little bit drastic to me, but that's what she said she had to do. So she was done, she moved on. But the producers of Love After Lockup asked Shonda, well, hey, will you call Tyrese and just talk to him? And she called him, she felt bad, she apologized. I feel like Shonda is a user, but I think deep down in her heart, she really does feel bad. But she called Tyrese, and just Tyrese was like, I was worried for you. Like, what the heck happened to you? Like, he was worried something bad might have happened. But she was like, hey, I'm sorry. You deserve better. I hope we can still be friends. And at first, Tyrese was a little bit talkative. Then she goes, I hope we can still be friends. And he says, no, this, that, and the other. He was using about every word that isn't very appropriate in the, book of not nice words. He was going off on her. He said, we are done. No more of this. And he hung up the phone, and that was it. Now, I believe Tyrese, for all of you single ladies out there that love Tyrese, I believe he has met a new woman. I believe. It sounds like people have found him on Facebook, and it really does sound like he's in a new relationship. And for Shonda, I have no idea. But the one thing I do know is Shonda and Tyrese are not still together. Let me just say, I don't believe we really got to see Chevelle and Quaylin. It sounds like the last we heard that Quaylin was going to go back to Texas to be closer to his mom, and that's the end of the story. But I don't believe we saw them in the last episode. But we did get to see, and I believe they're the last couple. If I'm missing someone, I do have to apologize. But we did get to see one of my favorite couples, and that is Maurice and Jessica. I love them so much. We found out in the last episode that Jessica is pregnant, which I'm so excited about. And in this, past episode, Jessica brought Maurice over to her parents' place. Maurice and her dad were having a little bit one-on-one time, father and son kind of. Maurice, he's telling us everything we want to hear. He's acting like he wants to learn under Jessica's dad. He wants that role model. He wants a father figure. He's saying everything we want to hear. And honestly, he's making my heart melt. I love this guy. I think he is just a nice, down-to-earth, sweet guy that wants to have a quote-unquote normal life. He wants to have the father figure, the family. He wants to have this normal lifestyle. And so I think he is just so happy, I believe. Now, could he be lying? Absolutely. We're going to have to wait and see. But in the last episode, he told, Jessica's dad that, hey, we're expecting a baby. And Jessica's dad was, He was happy, he was nervous, he was a little tense. I think with him, he's just like, well, geez, you just got out, you don't have a job, you're not making any money, and now you're gonna have a baby. It's definitely not the most responsible thing, I will say personally, in my opinion, but I feel like he appears to love her, and hey, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And the sweetest thing was Jessica's dad, he pulled out, $1,000 out of his own pocket and said, hey, you should go and propose to her, give her a real proposal. So here's $1,000 in cash to go buy Jessica a ring. And so obviously, you're going to repay me, but still he gave him that money. I thought it was just the coolest thing. It was so sweet. And it looked like Maurice actually might have got a little bit teary-eyed because he was saying, my dad, my mom, all my aunts, they have never given me $1,000 in cash. It's unbelievable. I can't believe you just did that. He was so happy. Now, what is Maurice going to do with that money? We're going to have to wait and see if he goes down to the casino or if he goes to the jewelry. I hope he goes to the jewelry store because I do not want him to lose Jessica's dad's trust. I desperately want to see them have this amazing relationship, and I hope they can stay on good terms and really build that bond. So, you guys, love after lockup. I want to say those were all the couples we got to see. I don't think I'm missing anyone, but I very likely could be, and if I am missing someone, let me just say they must be incredibly boring because I watch this show intensely. I love this show. One of my favorite reality TV shows, and so if I miss someone, like I said, they must not be very interesting. Well, guys, please make sure to comment below your thoughts from the last episode of Love After Lockup. Let me know what y'all thought. And also, make sure if you enjoyed this video to tap that subscribe button, tap the like button, and stay tuned for many more videos.